You know how we're always talking about how important early detection is for cancer? Well, what if there was a way to not only detect it early, but also kind of get a sense of, like, how aggressive it might be?
Hmm.
That's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
A recent article from UC San Diego, it's titled, Tumor Stickiness Scientists Develop Potential New Way to Predict Cancer's Spread.
Interesting.
Yep.
So, what are your initial thoughts? I mean, this research seems pretty fascinating, right?
Yeah, it is. It's really intriguing, because it looks at cancer through a different lens.
Yeah.
It's not just about the size of a tumor or even just like what the cells look like under a microscope.
Uh,
It's about how those cells actually behave.
so we're talking about how sticky tumor cells are,
Yeah,
and that can tell us something about how likely they are to spread.
exactly. And that's this research really suggests that cells from more aggressive cancers, they tend to be less sticky,
Okay.
meaning they detach more easily from the original tumor.
And then, of course, they have a greater chance of traveling to other parts of the body.
That makes sense. I mean, if a cell is less sticky, it's more likely to break away and float off to somewhere else. But how do they actually measure this stickiness?
Right.
It's not like they're using glue sticks, right?
No glue sticks involved.
Okay.
But they developed this pretty amazing microfluidic device.
Uh-huh.
Basically, it's like a tiny lab on a chip, and it can measure how strongly cells adhere to surfaces.
So it's like a miniature obstacle course for tumor cells?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
So the device has these little chambers, and they're coated with proteins
Okay.
that are actually found in breast tissue, and they flow tumor cells through these chambers,
Mm-hmm.
and they gradually increase the force of the fluid that's pushing on the cells.
Okay, hold on. You're talking about shear stress? Can you explain that in a way that, makes sense for someone who isn't a scientist?
Sure. So imagine, like, tumor cells flowing through your bloodstream.
Mm.
The force of the blood pushing against them, right, is constantly testing how well they're sticking to the walls of your blood vessels.
Right.
So that force, that's shear stress.
So in this device, they're basically recreating those conditions inside the body to see how the cells react.
Precisely. And what they found is that cells with weaker adhesion, they'll detach earlier under this shear stress.
Okay. So the less sticky the cells, the earlier they detach.
Yeah.
That seems pretty straightforward. But how does this relate to, actual patients?
Yeah.
And like making treatment decisions?
Right. That's where the study gets really interesting. They focused on a specific type of early-stage breast cancer called ductal carcinoma in situ. It's also called DCIS.
Now, I've heard that DCIS can be a bit of a wild card.
Yeah.
Sometimes it stays put,
Right.
but other times it can become invasive
Yeah.
and much more dangerous.
Exactly. You're exactly right. And the current methods for predicting whether DCIS will progress are not always reliable. So that's why this research is so exciting, because they found that this stickiness factor could potentially help doctors identify which DCIS cases are more likely to become invasive.
So if a woman is diagnosed with DCIS, this test could help her doctor decide on the best course of treatment.
Exactly. So if your tumor cells are strongly adherent,
Uh-huh.
she might be able to avoid aggressive treatments like surgery or chemotherapy.
That would be a huge relief for anyone in that situation. But what about cases where the cells are less sticky?
Right. Then the doctors would know that they need to intervene more aggressively
Okay.
to try to prevent the cancer from spreading.
So this ability to personalize treatment based on a tumor's behavior at the cellular level that's potentially groundbreaking.
Yeah.
But how reliable is this stickiness factor? Are there other things that could influence a tumor's behavior and make it more likely to spread?
That's a great question, and one that the researchers are actively exploring. So while this study shows promising results, more research is definitely needed to confirm, how accurately this stickiness factor predicts a tumor's future behavior.
So it's not a crystal ball just yet,
Right.
but it's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. And it highlights how important it is to understand cancer, not just as a mass, but as a collection of individual cells with unique behaviors.
This stickiness factor is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah,
But it's a fascinating one.
it is.
And if it can help doctors make more informed decisions about treatment,
Right.
that's a huge win for patients.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
completely agree. Yeah, and it's not about waiting to see how a cancer progresses.
Mm.
Doctors could use this information to make more informed decisions about treatment right away.
So, like, someone with highly sticky cancer cells,
Right.
they might be able to avoid aggressive treatments and just monitor the situation closely. While someone with less sticky cells might benefit from like a more proactive approach.
That's the idea, yeah. It could really empower both patients and doctors to make more personalized decisions based on the unique characteristics of the cancer.
It sounds like this could be like a game changer for people diagnosed with DCIS.
Absolutely.
Especially since it's often detected early through routine mammograms.
Yeah, you're right. And this research could really offer, peace of mind to those whose tumor cells are strongly adherent, right?
Right.
Potentially sparing them from unnecessary treatments.
And for those with weakly adherent cells, knowing this information could lead to like earlier and more effective interventions, potentially preventing the cancer from spreading and becoming more serious.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
This research has the potential to, significantly impact the way we approach DCIS treatment and ultimately improve outcomes for patients.
But this is just one study focused on breast cancer. Could this stickiness factor apply to other types of cancer as well?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
And while this study focused on DCIS, the researchers believe that this concept of cell adhesion, could play a role in other cancers as well.
So instead of just relying on like traditional biopsies and imaging scans, doctors could use this adhesion test to get like a more complete picture of a tumor's behavior,
Right.
regardless of the type of cancer.
Exactly. And it could provide, valuable information about the likelihood of tumor spreading, regardless of its location or type. Of course, more research is needed to confirm this,
Right.
but the potential is definitely there.
It's like having a whole new tool in the toolbox for like diagnosing and treating cancer. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is.
But you mentioned that the researchers are planning on doing more studies. Like, what's next for this research?
Well, the next step is to see how this stickiness factor plays out in the real world. They're planning on tracking DCIS patients over the next 5 years to see if, their initial adhesion test results actually predict whether their cancer becomes invasive.
So a real-world test to see if this stickiness factor holds up over time.
Right.
That's like a crucial step in validating this approach.
Absolutely. Those long-term studies are essential to understand the true potential of this technology to impact patient care.
And it's not just about predicting whether a cancer will spread.
Right.
This research could also have implications for, developing new treatments, right?
Definitely understanding the mechanisms behind cell adhesion could open up, new avenues for developing therapies that target this process.
So we could potentially see new drugs or treatments designed to make cancer cells stickier and less likely to spread.
That's one possibility.
Yeah.
Or perhaps, researchers could develop ways to disrupt the adhesion of cancer cells, making them more vulnerable to existing treatments like chemotherapy.
Wow. So this research could not only improve diagnosis, but also lead to entirely new treatment strategies.
You get it. This research is truly opening up a new frontier in the fight against cancer.
It's fascinating how something as seemingly simple as stickiness could have such profound implications for cancer treatment.
Yep.
It's a great example of how, like, scientific discoveries often come from unexpected places.
I couldn't agree more. Sometimes, the most groundbreaking discoveries emerge from exploring seemingly simple questions. And it's a testament to, the ingenuity and dedication of researchers who are constantly pushing the boundaries of scientific understanding.
It's really inspiring. So we've talked about like the potential benefits for diagnosis, treatment, and even the development of new therapies. But what about the bigger picture?
Right.
How could this research change our overall understanding of cancer and how we approach it?
Well, I think this research underscores, a crucial point about cancer that we sometimes overlook.
Okay.
It's not just a mass. It's a collection of individual cells, each with its own, unique characteristics and behaviors.
So we need to shift our focus from simply identifying and destroying cancer cells to like understanding their individual personalities and how they interact with their surroundings.
Precisely. It's a move towards a more nuanced and personalized approach to cancer care. And this stickiness factor is prime example of how understanding cellular behavior can provide valuable insights into the course of the disease.
It's like we're starting to see cancer cells not just as enemies to be eradicated,
Right.
but as like complex entities with their own set of rules that we can potentially learn to manipulate.
Yeah.
And this new knowledge could lead to more targeted and effective interventions.
That's a great way to put it, by delving into the intricate world of cellular behavior.
Yeah.
We're gaining a deeper understanding of cancer and opening up new avenues for both treatment and prevention.
It's really remarkable how much progress is being made in cancer research.
It is.
It gives me hope for the future, but I'm curious from your perspective as an expert.
Yeah.
What does this research tell us about the future of cancer care?
Well, I think it really points towards a future where cancer treatment is less about, standardized protocols.
Right.
And more about tailoring treatments to the individual patient and their specific cancer.
So a future where treatment decisions are based not just on like the type and stage of cancer, but on a deeper understanding of how that particular cancer is behaving at the cellular level.
Exactly. And this shift towards personalized medicine is only going to become more prevalent as we continue to unravel the complexities of cancer.
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities that lie ahead.
It is.
But for listeners who might be feeling overwhelmed by all this like scientific information,
Right.
Can you distill this down to a few key takeaways?
Yeah.
Like, what's the message you want them to walk away with?
I think, the key takeaway is that knowledge is power.
Okay.
The more we understand about cancer, the better equipped we are to fight it, both as individuals and as a society.
So even though this particular research is still in its early stages, it represents a shift towards like a more informed and empowered approach to cancer care.
Precisely. It's about moving beyond fear and uncertainty.
Yeah.
And embracing the potential of science to guide us towards, more personalized and effective treatments.
I think that's a really important message because it's easy to feel overwhelmed by a cancer diagnosis. But, this research gives us a reason to be optimistic.
Absolutely. And it underscores the importance of staying informed and engaged with advancements in cancer research. Knowledge can truly be a source of hope and empowerment.
And remember, even though we focused on this one fascinating study about tumor stickiness,
Right.
It's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Cancer research is happening on so many fronts, and progress is being made every day.
That's a great point. This research is just one example of the incredible innovation happening in the field of cancer research. And it's a testament to the dedication of researchers around the world who are working tirelessly to find better ways to, diagnose, treat, and ultimately prevent cancer.
Yeah, it's incredible to think that we're moving towards a future where we can understand cancer on such a granular level. But this research isn't just about like abstract scientific concepts. I mean, this has like real implications for people who are facing this disease.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's what I think is so compelling about this research. It's not just about lab experiments and data points. It's about people's lives and how we can, actually improve them.
So for someone listening, right, who might be going through cancer screening or maybe even facing a potential diagnosis, what does this research actually mean for them? What's the message you want them to take away from this?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that knowledge is power. The more we understand about cancer, the better equipped we are to fight it, both as individuals and as a society.
So even though this particular research is still in its, early stages, it really does represent a shift towards a more informed and empowered approach to cancer care.
Precisely. It's about moving beyond that fear and uncertainty.
Yeah.
And embracing the potential of science to guide us towards, more personalized and effective treatments.
I think that's a really, really important message because it's easy to feel overwhelmed by a cancer diagnosis. But this research gives us a reason to be optimistic.
Absolutely. And it underscores the importance of, staying informed and engaged with these advancements in cancer research. Knowledge can truly be a source of hope and empowerment.
And remember, even though we've been focusing on this one fascinating study, right, about tumor stickiness, it's really just one piece of the puzzle. I mean, cancer research is happening on so many different fronts, and progress is being made every single day.
That's a great point. This research is just one example of the incredible innovation happening in the field of cancer research, and it's a testament to the dedication of these researchers around the world who are working tirelessly to find better ways to, diagnose, treat, and ultimately prevent cancer.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given me a lot to think about. It's amazing how something as seemingly simple as the stickiness of cells can unlock such profound insights into, like, the very nature of cancer.
Yeah. It's a perfect illustration of how scientific curiosity and meticulous research can lead to these breakthroughs that have the potential to truly change lives.
And it's a reminder that even in the face of, complex challenges like cancer, there's always hope. The quest for knowledge continues, and with each new discovery, we move closer to a future where cancer is no longer a threat, but a manageable condition.
That's a future worth striving for.
Yeah.
And with continued investment in research and innovation, I believe we can make that future a reality.
So for all of you listening out there, keep asking questions, stay curious, and never lose hope. The fight against cancer is a marathon, not a sprint, and together we can make a difference.